trip to the Bahamas and back, and I'll talk about this presentation. Okay. So who am I? I'm a software, I made my living as a software entrepreneur. I'm retired. I'm a pilot, a private pilot. And explain why. I'm also a sailor. Okay. I have certifications for sailing. I have the TCOC and radio operating certificate for Marine. I have no ESA, no RYA, no ICC, practically nothing. Just a PCOC, pretty much. So I'm not an expert. Okay? So I'll just share my experiences with you and what it was a great trip, and share the experience of that trip and some tips of what I did. This is relevant and use what I talked about. As an entrepreneur, being business, it's a big boat, risk management, and being challenged and being extraordinary. As a pilot, it's similar to that, but it's safety-oriented, risk management, and makes me a reasonably good navigator. Okay, all things are kind of important. As a sailor, oh, by the way, I'm going to try to keep this down to 90 minutes, and we go down to the bar and chew the beer. Yeah. Okay, so I'm a sailor, kind of live aboard, bush to beat, but I like it, enjoy it. I have a passion for sailing. I do race, but I've never won a race, ever.
Will you participate?
This is my best race ever. This is Strathcona from 2022. I don't know if you can read it. There's some names in there.
Fell in third.
I came in third.
That's awesome.
That's great. Why did I come in third? Because everybody else below me did the wrong course. So I'm not fast. But the real point is, you don't need to be fast to do this trip. You want to avoid making mistakes. Mistakes are very costly. So really, the point of this was, you don't have to be good at racing. Racing really helps you skills a lot. But it's really about not making mistakes, not challenging too much risk, and about succeeding. This is a trip I did. Okay, I hope this works. Okay, I started in Dorval on September 17th. I went down to Thousand Islands. Most of you know that trip, that path. Then across to Oswego, across Lake Ontario, and did the Erie Canal. I wanted to do the Erie Canal for many years. I tried a few years ago and due to mechanical problems, I never did it. So I don't like to go back and forth, see the same thing twice. So as much as I can, I should do a different path. Okay, and also Champlain Canal is broken too. Okay, end up on the Hudson near Albany. I took down the mast in Oswego and put it back up near Albany. I can't remember the club name.
Castletown.
Castletown. That's right, thank you. And went down to Hudson. The Hudson starts to get salty and tides start coming in. Made it to New York. That's I had a crew help me to New York, and then I was single-handed down the Jersey Shore. And going down, I went into a couple of times into an inlet. This is the only part you have to go in the ocean. You cannot go through inland. So from here, Cape May, up to Delaware Bay, C&D Canal, down the Chesapeake, And my goal was to get to Annapolis for the Annapolis Boat Show. I made it there about 2 days ahead.
Cool.
And that was kind of fun. And then down to after that, down Chesapeake, anchoring where I could, and down to Hampton, Virginia, where I met up with a group called Sail to the Sun Rally. And we were 8 boats, sailed down to Miami together, down to ICW. The ICW starts pretty much in Norfolk. And again, taking a different approach. Going down, I went down Dismal Swamp. The water was high enough we could do it. North Carolina. South Carolina, Georgia.
So from Montreal to, let's say, Caroline, how long did it take?
2 months, roughly.
2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took 3 months to get to Miami.
We were going down anchoring, or we were staying in it.
Depends.
Okay.
We spent because Sail to the Sun Rally, been doing for 20 years, he's quite experienced. He knows where the good spots are. Like St. Augustine, we spent 3 nights there, and just right. So,
Alan,
Yeah.
did you have any problem with mast height in the ICW?
I had no problem. My boat was 46 feet. One of the boats was 65 feet, and that's right at the margin. And she always had to wait for low tides, and she couldn't stay with us all the time. She'd have to leave early or leave late to get the low tide. So 65 is your magic number to avoid. So down to Miami. The bridges to Miami are lower than 65 feet. Okay, so you pretty much have to go outside. From Miami, we went to Bimini, Nassau, down to Exumas, and end up in Georgetown, which is actually my favorite spot. It's took about 3.5 weeks down there, partially waiting for crew and just having a good time. It's like a condo. People just live on their boats like condos for years.
Well, they don't have to haul that way. The water doesn't get hard 6 months a year.
Yeah.
So did you have a problem from Miami to the islands? Did you have a window to take off from? Because there's weather that
I had to wait 2 weeks for a good window.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll talk about that later on. So, we're back up to Exumas and to Urethra, Spanish Well, Marsh Harbor, Grand,
West End,
well, the Grand
Abaco.
Grand Bahamas.
Grand Bahamas, Abaco. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, from Miami and making your circle back to Florida, how long did it take you, that circle at the bottom on the Bahamas side?
Well, I took 2.5 months.
Okay, so you enjoyed it for 2.5 months
Yes.
on the good side?
There's no rush, except some people had to get back. So back up Fort Pierce, where we met Mark Osterman, and had some good times there. Up Florida, back more or less the same thing. And here, like I said, I couldn't go up the Dismal Swamp because it wasn't open. So I went down up the Virginia Cut, which is the more common way of doing it. It's a faster way. But not as pretty, but there's a place in near Chesapeake. I remember very well known for prime rib.
corn jog.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. Very well known. Up Norfolk, back up the same way, more or less. here I'm starting to rush back a bit. And I stayed in Baltimore and came back to Montreal to vote for Mr. Trudeau's replacement and my high school reunion. And I came back down, went up the Chesapeake, back the same way, more or less the same way, St. Canal, same way, except this time I had a crew with me, and we did the overnight up Jersey Shore, up to New York, about 30 hours. So it took a lot longer than I expected. We tried to sail a lot longer, and the wind just died. And, yeah.
What time of day did you come into New York Harbor?
Afternoon, yeah, Sunday afternoon, very quiet. The harbor's very quiet Sunday.
You were never bothered in the United States with ice aging?
No,
I
I was worried about it.
Yeah.
I-
I'm worried about you.
Ice, but more breaking the new rules. And I'll talk a bit about that later on. So up the Hudson River, up Lake Champlain, and up to Sorel, Richelieu. Some of you have done this before, back to Dorval. So that just gives you an overview of what the trip was. So you have a context of why do it? Because this touches me a bit. For one color, life is either during adventure or nothing. Life is short. The boat I had was my boat. I've been dreaming about this trip for a few years and been looking to buy a boat, and then I decided I don't really want to do this every year. And so I took the boat I took. You should test it. The boat you know is better than the boat you don't know. She's easy to handle, easy to single handle. The expression is go simple, go small, and go now. Okay, that's a mustache from that CW's trophy. You see, all the boats after some time picked up this. I think it comes from a cannon. All the water's red. Like at first I thought someone's bleeding there. Exactly that red, almost that red. When you see water coming out of exhaust, it's definitely red, and it comes from the vegetation. Certainly in Dismal Swamp, that's what the story is, and that kept going further down.
So mountains aged in an oak cask.
And she had a proper draft, 5 feet. Air draft of 46 feet. Maintenance, this is common stuff. I'm going to go through this fast. You got to do your oil changes. Anodes, they go real fast. You need the right kind of anode. Yep.
So mine, shouldn't we have to talk about it? Did you have to change from like magnesium to zinc?
Oh yeah, I put zinc in, and the boathouse said, this is not for around here. I'm not staying here. Like, she Lori, actually it's mentioned. You sure you want zinc anode? Yeah.
Where did you change? Or you put it on here?
I put it on here before I left. And I changed it. I snorkeled and changed it. Florida and Bahamas.
Okay.
They were pretty disintegrated. I have two on. And because my water's fresh water, I had engine anodes too, which had to be changed.
Do you think that the anodes changing is subject to boat size or anode size?
No, it probably has more. I think it has more to do with being plugged in shore power, in my opinion. Anyone else comment? Salt water certainly eats it, but if you plug into poor shore power, that would definitely eat up your anode.
Thank you.
How much was that? How much of that was sailing without a motor, and how much was with the motor? And two, did you have to take your mast down or anything?
Yeah, I did have to take down the mast in New York to go through the Champlain canals, the New York canals, the Erie Canal, and then I put the mast up around Albany. After that, you don't need to take down the mast. And most of the ICW is motoring. 80%, 90% was motoring, 95% was motoring. Okay. That's ICW. You could sail, if you had a bigger boat, you could go out to the ocean and sail. New Jersey I sailed, Chesapeake I sailed, Delaware I sailed, but often the wind was in my nose.
If something goes wrong with your engine, is it easy to call someone, or are you sort of far from home and stuck?
In the United States, you get sea tow and boat US. I'll talk about that later. I have a slide on that.
Did you use them?
Don't. Nor do I use fire insurance or health insurance. Spare filters, spare impellers, definitely. I was lucky with fuel. I was warned by Maurice Gagnon that Georgia was really bad for fuel and no problems. Pump out discharges. I didn't think that need to be mentioned, but I talked to somebody who went down to Bahamas, didn't know they had no pump outs. There are no pump outs in Bahamas, or there are very few. Okay, so I had to put in overboard discharge my boat before I left. But I thought I couldn't do that, but I know somebody who. So I bring it up in the slide. The rule is you need to be 3 miles, in the United States, 3 miles out to discharge.
Alan?
Yeah.
What was the most challenging part of this trip? Like, what was there that really surprised you that you hadn't expected in taking this? So I know you had some mechanical issues at different points. Were there anything that just blew you away that you thought you were going to turn around and come home, or?
Well, actually, no, it didn't. I was thinking where I'm going to fail, and when I got to Virginia, I realized, oh, I've done 1/4 of it, or a little enough to say, it's going to work. It's a mindset. That's when my mindset changed from when I'm going to fail to it's not going to fail.
So I know you had some big challenges. Like there was, I think, your winch failed at one point, and
Those are tiny failures.
yeah,
I'll talk a little bit
that
about
was
that.
a big failure for me. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it was windless.
okay.
Yeah. I also lost a spinnaker winch, which wasn't really important. It didn't break it; it just needs to be serviced, but I didn't bother servicing it. The biggest problem my boat was no bimini. Okay, so I'm lucky. Someone found me a bimini for $100 brand new, and it worked. Luck has a lot to do with it, and help. A lot of people at the club helped. Too many people to name. I'm scared to name them because there's just so many people who. I didn't have a dinghy. I didn't have a dinghy that was rolling, so I bought a cheap Chinese dinghy, and it was the best dinghy I ever had. Because it's brand new. All the used dinghies I bought 3 used dinghies, and they've all leaked and annoying. The thing never leaked. So, corrosion, a lot of corrosion. My boat was really never meant for salt water. It's a lake boat, but she's 42 years old and she did quite well. Not for me. Sort of not for me. I didn't need a water maker. I'm not going to have a water maker. And I bring that up because listening to people with problems on ICW or Bahamas, water makers, the number one thing that people ask questions about that seem to break down. And I know Luis Gagnon had a lot of problems with his water maker. Just my opinion, your mileage may vary. Air conditioning, not for me, but it's a big power drain, and I understand you need it. Some people need it.
So without a water maker, how easy was it for you to get water? Fresh water?
Water's available everywhere. You pay for it in the Bahamas, and the thing I worry more about is getting bad water. My rule when I fill the tanks here is fill up on Sunday because everyone's washing the boat on the weekend. I try to drain my tank so I don't fill up as often because you risk, every time you fill up, you risk contaminating your tank. So I drain my tanks, go enough, so then I find a nice marina, or a nice marina like Hilton Head, fill up the tanks, be selective where I fill up my tanks.
Any additive, gel, vinegar, whatever?
I flush my tank and I've drunk my tank many times. Actually on this trip I drank totally from my tank and I put it in a carbon filter at the tap. It's close, very close to the tap. And I check every day, every morning I check and there's no problem in my body. Something you have to monitor. Some like, because if you start downing the water and then you probably would stop. I had a few people join me and some people drink from the tank and some people prefer not to drink from the tank. Depends on their personal choice and health situation. Heaters. That should be, it is for me. I did have a heater and blanket and duvet. You need this. When I did my research, Georgia, you want to avoid hurricane season, so you don't want to go down too fast. The hurricane season ends in November, officially, for insurance purposes. And that's statistically okay, or if it's getting worse. But you'll get down to 4 degrees, so you need a method to stay warm. Actually, I found an electric blanket that runs off 12 volts. You don't use it all night, you just warm it up to get into bed. Davits to carry daily. My boat, I thought they were just too ugly for my boat, so I found a system called dinghy tow, and there'll be some pictures of it later, but you really probably, you don't want to drag your dinghy all that distance, just because my boat is more of a cruiser racer. I didn't want to put a big davit on the back of it. Navigation. For the Bahamas, the Explorer charts are the best for the Bahamas. Actually, I have all my charts back there, and you need the Explorer charts. Electronic and paper. I old enough, I started on paper. I never really navigated much on paper, but I did have it. But electronics is what I used. Aquamap is essential for traveling to ICW, and it's very nice in the Bahamas because Aquamap supports Explorer charts, and it also supports what the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They do surveys. And wherever there's shoaling or with the depth change, they do surveys, and they put that into a database. Aquamap is an Italian company who worked with the U.S. Corps of Engineers, and they took that database and graphically showed it on their charts. It's amazing, and it saved my butt many times. I'll talk about in a couple slides from now. Bob 423, Bob Shearer, he was an IBM engineer. He's well known in the people who travel around the ICW, and he created these tracks of the ICW, which are now dynamic. You can download that to your chart plotter, but you use Aquamap to show it pretty much live. Every time you go online, you will download it. You set it to download automatically, and if those it's not a track that he did. It's a track he did years ago, over time. But people go modify the track, and I'll explain that in a moment. Okay, Robert Shearer. Okay. So these charts are available in GPX format, and you normally download it, but because Aquamap downloads it automatically, it's always on live. Other resource, Facebook. I know, but Facebook is a very, very helpful resource. I'll explain that in a couple slides. The ICW guide by Bob, I don't know what the 423 comes from, I just know it's Bob 423. Have spare tablets or phones in case your phone dies. If you have backups, you won't need them. they won't die. That's proven science.
So what were you using for your network? Was that cellular or a Starlink?
I use cell, and I'll talk about that in a couple slides. There's many options, but to me, cell's the cheapest, easiest. Starlink's probably the fastest. If you're working on board, yeah. Normal day-to-day, I didn't need it at all. The CTO and Boat USA are two major towing companies in the States. Okay, they're about the same price. Some people say get both of them. I just got CTO. From my reading, it's better than ICW, but if they don't service it, they will actually call Boat US and they'll have a reciprocal agreement. But you'll only be safe by boat. That's what they say. Like I said earlier, I never needed it. It's,
Because you had it.
yes. And it's not that expensive. It's $400 or something for the top package. I'll talk a bit more about these in the final slides because we need to talk about costs. Okay, this is what the BAH 423 track would do. This is the normal channel, but it's showing here, and the BAH 423 track will tell you to go with this alternate path. If you didn't have, if you're paying close attention, you know it's blocked here. But the 423 track would tell you to take that path. No brainer. That's just, lots of mileage here. And also, this is on Facebook. This is screen capture on Facebook. This has been going on for quite a while, but if you don't know it, in some places, the show can happen right away. And let's say this is not the example here, but let's say something happened here, a log fell in, and someone reported it. The people on Facebook looking after the BAH 423 track will change the track to make a recommendation, and I'll be online within 3 hours. But you can see on Facebook and see why. So, Facebook's not the coolest thing or whatever, but the information is available there, and it's crowdsourced, and it's very up to date when it happens.
I guess every day before you set out, you look at all these resources and plan. But like what would you have in front of you at the helm to see if anything new would come up? Or?
I have my phone, my iPad, and my MFD chart plotter.
But like, would you access these kinds of resources while you're en route, or you check in the morning and then just plot your kind of plot your
What
course?
I do, or I should do. Ask and answer.
Yeah.
When going with the Sail to Sun rally, I remember his name here. The leader there, he
Wally.
communicate. Sorry.
Wally.
Wally.
Alright.
He's in touch with everybody. People call him to tell him what's happening. So
Like
they can check the weather.
if there was something going on somewhere along your route, would you be extra cautious? Would you slow down? Would you like what?
Well, actually, it would probably show up with BAH 423 quite fast. Okay. But the areas that are, okay, the answer to that is really, there's certain areas that are always showing and dangerous, risky. Like, you remember a couple of times I was reporting before I entered a precarious area. You just be much more careful. But a lot of it, like the Hudson, there's really no hazards.
I think your electronics goes out. I mean, does anything fail? I mean, our boats are mostly not made for saltwater areas.
Well, electronics is my superpower. So I had 2 chart plotters. One did die. One was failing. That was my old one, my backup. And that was making me use an anchor alarm, and it's just when when I'm in bed, I can see the wind and everything else. It's just, I updated many years ago, and I just keep my old one in the earth. But yeah, electronics. The biggest failure I had was phone cables, especially lightning cables. Even original Apple cables would fail. Salt water destroyed. I kept losing cables a lot, and I didn't lose many C cables, mostly lightning. And a lot of things do fail. A few things were about to fail I changed before I left. Depth sounder. Thanks, JP. He offered me one. So, as a pilot, this is one of the things I always remember. Learn from mistakes of others, you won't live long enough to make them all yourself. There'll be a few of these sayings that get me going. So, I collected a lot of charts, a lot of guidebooks, and they're all back there. Have a look at them, and a very resourceful. Waterway is a very good resource. After Captain used to be a good resource, it's not so good anymore. And Garmin bought it out and flushed it. The resources I've given you are, you scan the barcode, or scan the barcode here. And I made 15 copies of this in case someone wants to take it in paper form. I figure most people would rather just take the link. This is a page I maintain. Anyway, the barcode will be up here. The ICW is a canal, pretty much a canal system. From Norfolk to Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia to Miami, Florida. The mile markers are statute miles. So it's good to reference, especially Facebook. People don't do it often enough, mileage marker where incidents happen or where hazards are. ICMAP does a very good job on that. Actually, I met the founder of ICMAP at Annapolis and went up to shake his hand and thanked him for everything. And the guy behind me was lined up for the same thing. Actually, one of his competitors was saying, they're great. I can't say enough for that. The ICW markers are, there's red and green, but the general standard is your yellow squares and triangles. The squares on the ocean side. That's what you need to remember. You still follow the red and green, but sometimes the red and green flips around. There's constant showing, so draft is very important. This is something that, on the way back, actually Jason and Norman were following me. They were my float plan. I will talk a bit about that later, but this is navionics from my chart plotter. It's slightly different zoom. Not very different, but this is the track I follow. This is channel. On ICMAP, you can see the Bob 423 track 2, you go around there. The standard chart goes straight through the channel. And your Sirius shown here, you wouldn't see that in navionics at all. What happened was, I was coming up here, and there's a boat ahead of me, and he was going straight for it. I tried to radio him on VHF. He didn't answer. He got stuck. I went around here. I waved to him. He got on the radio. I told him to follow me. This is a track I actually followed Bob 423. I went around here and then back onto the track over here, following Bob. He couldn't make it this far. He never would have made it this far. And that happened several times. And this gets you really confident on not trusting, but at least situation awareness.
Alan, on that one map, can you give us a description of the red, yellow, green, what it means, please?
Well, red is, okay, I have a,
Is it depth?
it's the Corps of Engineer, it's a Corps of Engineer, US Corps of Engineers. They do surveys, they measure it, and they put it in a database. The charts don't change. The original paper charts, they don't move the buoys because it is showing, because then everything doesn't match anymore. So they leave the buoys where they are, and you're supposed to refer to the database to figure out what the current showing situation is.
Is it current or depth for the color?
Depth.
Depth, thank you.
I thought you meant, is it current, up to date? Sorry. This is an ACMA map on the web, and they provide this information. You can do it on a tablet. So I'm just going somewhere here randomly in the area where there's a lot of showing. No, this is too far north, sorry. Oops. I'm going to go to the area where there's a lot of showing. I'm in trouble with that.
You can click full screen.
And have trouble now. Okay. Just want to go to an area where there's a lot of showing to show you how it works. It's available on tablet and on web. So you can turn on the surveys. I'm going to zoom in more just so you can see it better. So there should be some showing here. So this is the regular map chart. And you turn on the Corps of Engineer surveys, data, and some nav warnings. I didn't pick a good spot. I didn't zoom in out. So there's plenty of water here. So I just didn't pick the best spot. There we are. So this is, they know the showing, so the Corps of Engineer will at some point come up here and do some measurements and put it like literally a database, like a table where the showing is, what longitude, latitude, and what the depth measured is. AquaMap picks up this data from the database and displays a graph with.
So it's like another overlay over AquaMap, right?
It's part of, yeah. So I'm going to turn it off, and this is what the normal AquaMap would look like. That's what the government charts are. See, they don't want to move these buoys if there's something moving, because 3 days from now it will change, or 3 months from now it will change. And then they have to move the buoys, and then to move the buoy, they have to take the charts, electronic or paper, so they just tend not to change them unless they're separate series.
Alan, I've done this trip before, and if I may add, pretty much there are very few floating buoys. They're actually wooden poles. The red and the green ones are wooden poles.
That's right.
And one of the ways you can see is you coming down or up, that there is shoaling. If you see a floating buoy, then you know there's a shoal there.
Oh.
Because what will happen is they don't, like you say, they don't move the red one. They'll just put a red buoy next to it.
Yeah,
And that's how you can tell.
Yeah, that's right.
And I know that for sure because I ran around.
You're right, I've seen that. I've seen that. They put buoys there, like 117A.
That's a shoal.
Yeah, that's right.
And the 117 will be a solid wooden pole.
Yeah. It's, I did see that, you're right. And you can see on the chart that the A is not there. Someone put it there, or it might show up on the chart, but it's just a way of getting around that, but they don't like to move the buoys. So that's AquaMap. It gives you a very high level of confidence. Enough for me to actually radio someone ahead to me to tell them, be careful.
How often and how obsessively do you look at your depth sounder?
All the time. All the time. It's always, and it's actually also on my chart plotter displayed. Like also, this After the ICW, we get into what is the Gulf Stream. That's off Florida, probably Georgia, and fades a bit. You need to get from to the Bahamas, you need to cross the Gulf Stream. This is, let's say, critical to know how to do it. The basic rule is no northern component of wind. It's a warm current of water going north, and you have wind coming from the north. If the current's going north, you have wind coming from the north, you could create a lot of sloppy chops and very hazardous navigation. They say if it's less than 5 knots of wind, it's okay. That's what they say. That's what I read. I haven't done it. I waited 2 weeks in Miami waiting for northern components. It's it's 50, 90 miles to go across maybe, depends where you're crossing. And okay, if you're 5 knots of wind, 20 miles, 30 miles, no change probably. So basically, do not cross the Gulf Stream. There's any northern components, especially around the Florida area. Everybody pretty much agrees to those rules. There's some other rules. You basically go on Facebook and people chat whether it's okay or not to go, and then unless you're a weatherman, better experience, try to listen to some advice. Some people don't know what they talk about, but you use some judgment. And I subscribe to Chris Parker weather for about to get daily briefings on what the weather is. And he sends it by VHF radio or HF and email. Okay, so going to the Bahamas, the current is always going north, that's the Gulf Stream. So wherever you're leaving from, it's going to push you north. So you don't want to come up here and go southbound. You just want to go eastbound or northbound, and the current will bring you up there. Before GPS, you would take a heading and calculate your trigonometry to get to where you want to go. With chart plotter GPS, it'll follow where you're going, and you can just wing it. And people talk about GPS failure. You can talk about it all you want. It could happen. It hasn't happened yet.
Your chart plotter has, I guess, the GPS, it has GLONASS, it has all of the different hours.
I don't know. Actually, the iPad's more. I'm using the iPad more, which does have more better GPSs. So suppose it picks it up from the cellular network. It was faster anyways. So this is general ways of getting to the standard paths. There are many places that you get this information from.
How did you see these instruments if you were halfway up to the Bahamas with no cellular coverage?
Well, the instrument GPS works.
GPS doesn't mean, I was talking more about like you're talking your Facebook or your other
Well,
applications or even your laptop.
You check the day before you leave, or you have started.
You fly, you sail flying.
Well, you're still navigation-wise, weather-wise, and so on. You're flying. Well, there's no hazards. Like there's no showing in the ocean. So like there's not going to be any warnings except for the weather. Did I answer your question? Okay. So worst thing can happen crossing the ocean is a stock market crash. This is just a quick description of the Bahamas. It's geographically most complicated nation in the Atlantic. It consists of 700 islands, more than 700 count the rock and outcroppings, and only about 50 of these are semi-inhabited. And that's why I like the Bahamas. I've been to 10 different Caribbean countries, and the Bahamas, there's a lot of empty islands which you can just explore and not worry about invading people's space or having people anchor close to you. There's a lot of empty space. But the bad thing is it's shallow. And the water is beautiful. Safety and preparation. This is the rule that kept me sane and safe. It's no schedule. I'm retired. I don't need to come back.
You're already home?
Yeah. The journey's a reward. It's if there's a storm coming up or something, just wait it out. I waited 3 days and 4 nights in Peak Lake. It's fine. I got internet, I got YouTube. It's a schedule that really will kill people. I gotta get back. Actually, aviation, that's the second most serious cause accident. The client pushing you to get to destinations, paying you to get there. That's what we're for. The first danger is weather. So the pilot can control both, actually. It keeps you sane. I had some crew with me who had jobs to get back to, and too bad. Being shipwrecked during your trip. It's about direction. The compass, not the speed. When you go see things, it's not about getting there, it's about the journey. Life jacket, obviously. Personally, I took a motorcycle down trip to Key West, and I kept my helmet on and leather jacket all the way. Here, when I was single-handed, I always had a life jacket on. My choice. And I'm a lousy swimmer. Anchor and rode, this is one thing I failed at, is I had 50 feet of chain, a great anchor, I had 200 feet of road. Go all chain, do not go road. I had to kill it weight, but it wasn't enough. What happens is the current around North Carolina especially, and Jersey, is the current will change with the tide, and the wind would keep confusing everything, and the road wraps around your keel. Okay. You won't have that problem. You have long, you have what do you call that keel?
Full keel.
Sorry? Full keel, yeah. But my advice is go full all chain. My problem is my anchor locker is too small. The new generation of anchors are fantastic. They're day and night. Everyone agrees with it, and we experienced it. I had a Bruce, and I went with Rockman, and 4 extra pounds. I went one size up, and many times I couldn't pull it up. I actually had to wind windlass. So chain is highly recommended, and keep spare parts and spare tools. The EIS is nice. I had a choice to get it. I didn't think I needed it. I wish I did have it. It's just people know who you are when they pass you. I can receive AIS, so I knew who was around me. I could call by radio, but sending it AIS just would be nice for the whole trip. A float plan. A float plan is having somebody at home keeping track of where you are. Every morning you send them an email, let them know where you are and where you're going, what time you expect to be there, and check in when you arrive. If you don't do that, their job is to call authorities to look for you.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's, as a pilot, that's a standard, it's a flight plan or float plan, standard practice. I did that when I crossed the Lake Ontario, but once I was in the Thousand Islands, I didn't care anymore because whatever happens to you when you're close to shore. But it's a good idea to stay in touch with. You have a float plan. And the NAC. Okay, this is the NAC. Let me explain the NAC.
says I always have.
I'm worried about little Dilbert. He's not like other kids.
What do you mean?
Yesterday, I left him alone for a minute, and he disassembled the TV, our clock, and the stereo.
That's perfectly normal. Kids take things apart.
The part that worries me is he used the components to build a ham radio set.
Oh dear.
Is that bad?
Normally I'd want to run an EEG on him, but the machine isn't working. It's worse than I feared.
What is it?
I'm afraid your son has the knack. The knack. It's a rare condition characterized by an extreme intuition about all things mechanical and electrical, and utter social ineptitude.
Can he lead a normal life?
No. He'll be an engineer. Don't blame yourself.
Will it go away over time?
It might, but pray it doesn't. If an engineer loses the knack, the results can be devastating.
Thanks for filling in for our regular doctor on such short notice.
I was in the neighborhood.
We'll get the gist of that. Maybe you didn't get the gist of that, but things break. You're out by yourself. Anything, having tools, having spare parts, having knowledge. The only time I needed help was I had a broken starter on my outboard. Actually, in the morning I noticed it was frayed. Afternoon it broke. And sure, I can fix it, but I didn't know how to. There's a recoil spring there, which I didn't know how to put back together. YouTube and everything else. And this is in Georgetown, which is a great place to break down in the Bahamas, because I'll talk about the net shortly. And I found somebody who had experience with that, and a few people had experience with it. It's this one guy said, "I'd rather have my nails pulled than fix it." It's pretty miserable, but he's done it before, and he got it back. Everything else, I was pretty good with some help from people, from friends, and advice. But having tools with you, tons and tons of tools. I had a 25-year-old Dodge Dart, 20 years old Dodge Dart in 1982, I think, which broke the camshaft. I had almost all the tools to replace it in Washington, North Carolina.
And you had them with you.
I had to borrow a torque wrench. And there was a Chrysler dealer 3 blocks away. So another aviation. The superior sailor uses his superior judgment to avoid situations that requires the use of superior skills. Keep out of trouble. The PowerPoint is available on this barcode too, so you don't, it'll be there. So the net is a VHF net. Okay, it's a radio operated network, not the internet, where in communities where there's a lot of boats, every morning they open a chat channel with a schedule, welcoming people, who needs help, who needs advice, who needs a taxi. It goes out every morning. Very popular in Georgetown, very popular in most of the Bahamas, and I remember Frank talked about the net. Okay, good to know, and good place to sell your used stuff or buy used stuff. I bought solar panels on the net and in the Bahamas. And someone else bought, I bought 3 panels, and I bought 1 panel, then a better panel came up, and so I bought those, and then someone else needed the panel, and I first bought, because one of his was broken, it was a perfect fit, so I sold it for he's from Ottawa, I sold it for $20, he gave me 40, he was insulted how, I just trying to help him. Bahama hurricane season, I'm not sure where it starts in November, around November. Don't quote me on dates. Insurance company will tell you what it is. something you want to avoid. And the point is really you don't want to go down to Bahamas. You want to keep as far north as you can and watch out for when the hurricanes are. You know, in December, they're mostly gone, mostly. Your mileage may vary. Awareness of it helps you schedule. And hurricanes can be avoided because there's plenty of notice, or sometimes, usually there's plenty of notice. Luck had a lot to do with it. We were in Hilton Head when the hurricane, I can't remember the hurricane, and it's a very sheltered harbor. Actually, they have their own lock, like next city. They have their own lock to get in there. And also, it's a great yacht club there, one of the best yacht clubs I visited. I didn't visit many yacht clubs. Didn't have their reciprocatory website. Is just listing is just quite poor for the club. Most actually word of mouth from Sue. Told me she stayed here, so that's how I found out about it. Chris Parker Weather. So, some of his stuff is public domain or free available. That's a website to get this information. You get personal planning from him. And luck has a lot to do with it. Talk about luck. I was suspecting my windlass was having trouble in Annapolis. I ordered one. They had to ship to North Carolina. The night got there. Before it got there, the anchor before, my windlass failed. I was able to put it up my hand. The next day, I was at the marina, Dowry Creek, and the windlass was waiting for me, so I was just down for one day. Luck had a lot to do with this. I couldn't believe when it died. And waiting for weather windows. Hello. Half tide rising, Google it. Basically, it means if you go into a place that's dangerous or risky, go on a rising tide. You get stuck, you get out. The tide will help you get out, and the currents are better on the rising tide than the falling tide. So the expression is half tide rising is what they call it.
Alan,
Yep,
how much of a tide are we talking about?
depends where you are. North Carolina is the worst. North Carolina, I think it's 5-6 feet. Don't quote me.
Okay, in the Bahamas?
Bahamas, very little.
Okay.
Some, but not much. And there are not many tide stations, so you just are good. But I never worried much about it. Although that's wrong. We did go low tide and it rocks pretty hard.
Okay.
There are boat sailers, there are old sailors. But there are no old boat sailors. And you know, these expressions kept me going because you know, you just see dangers. Yeah, it's not go there. Okay, so this is legal stuff, just basic things to know. I-94 is a registered around. But Trump made it mandatory for Canadians. If you stay more than 30 days, you need to register. And he declared this new rule, but the website to register wouldn't allow you to register without zip code. That's stressful. That's as stressful as ice was. You pay for decal. If your boat is more than 30 feet, you pay $30.98 to get a sticker, which is basic tax for boats 30 feet longer. CBD Roam app is the best way to clear today, clear customs. Basically clear customs with a video interview on the way down, and they interviewed me, they checked me out, my file was clean, And when I came back, I checked in on the app with Chris, who had a Nexus, and 2 minutes later, you're cleared, no interview. It's great. And when you check in, you get a cruising permit, and that's more or less transparent. I've heard stories where if you do certain things that the government don't like going to Cuba, they'll deny you cruising permit. That's just, these are stories I've heard. But if you keep out of trouble, you will get a cruising permit. There's no charge for it. And one thing is a cruising license. This is, I think, relatively new. Somewhere along the line, when you travel through the States by boat, you need to check in different areas, and they're not clear what the areas are. And even customs say, why are you calling in? This hearsay, this stuff I read. I never done it. I was able to get, when I got my interview, they asked me, why do you want a cruising license? I'm sailing to Bahamas. Okay, period. So I got it. There's no charge for it. It's just, they don't want to. You need a radio station license by law. Actually, you always need a radio station license, but local tradition of law has been changed. So if you're in Canada, you don't. If you're Canadian in Canada, they waive your need for a radio station license. But when you leave Canada, you need it, and it's vice versa. When Americans come here, when they're in the state, they don't need a station license. When they come outside the United States, they need a station license. Everyone needs a station license, but there are exceptions when you're in your own country in Canada and the United States. So you should go apply for your radio station license. You should. Many people don't.
Is that anything like the marine operators?
You know, marine officer certificate is a certificate of competence. Like you have your radio, you prove that you're able to operate a radio. You know how to use it. That's important. That's probably more important than radio station license, just to know how to use the radio.
But the radio station license, like what?
It's a station. When you're broadcasting, you get a license over 100 milliwatt or whatever, what frequency. And since you do more than that power, you always need a radio station license. But most of them are exempt in Canada. As Canadian, you're exempt from it.
Is that something we're being asked to radio operators is kind of getting to that automatically?
No.
It's just a fee. It's a license fee. It's there's no skill required. That's why it's called license. Whereas your ROC is a certificate of competency. It's just to stay legal. And if you do something wrong, they might use this against you. The thing's about $30, $35. You get PDF, and that's then you get a call sign. And actually, when you cancel it, and you reapply it, you get the same call sign. Keep your ship's documents, keep copies of them. I'd say, they say keep originals. Follow what they say. And that includes, especially if you have receipt of taxes paid for your boat, that's good to have too. Insurance. Florida anchoring laws, they're really to keep people from, they have very strict anchoring laws in Florida. A lot of places you can't anchor, like Miami, very few places you can anchor overnight. Certain number of days you're allowed to anchor, just to keep people from living aboard without. For the most part, it won't be a problem. That's the United States. The Bahamas, they're always changing. They're changing a lot right now. Okay, it used to be, it was hard to get a cruising permit for more than 30 days, 90 days, sorry. So I kept my trip down to 90 days, and that was about right. And now it's 1 year, so they increase the fee, they get more for it. And a lot of people are staying more than 90 days. So generally, it's not too bad. Click to Clear is a website you need to use to register your boat and pre-clear yourself. And you need at least, it's not user friendly. I did it on a tablet, but it was difficult. Use a laptop. In my resources on YouTube that shows you how to do it. That suits you very well. Keep your PCR number. to make amendments. So you do this well before you leave, before you arrive in Bahamas, and you update it as you go, you know, and then once you go, you activate it, and you keep the PCR number, and when you come into the Bahamas, you go to the customs and immigration, and you prepaid through the Quick to Clear, so you just get your cruising permit and your fishing license, which is now a separate, goes to a separate fee. If you have people flying in to the Bahamas, send them a copy of your cruising permit. You'll make them coming to Bahamas customs much easier. They won't ask you what hotel you're staying at, what you're doing. You're staying on a boat and has a cruising permit. That makes coming in much easier and cheaper. So you need to ask for a fishing permit, which was free. So you should have PDFs or scans of your shipping documents, basically you can submit it through the Quick to Clear app. Pets, you need to get that cleared up, and there's a website to help you do that. These are private companies that take care of that for you. You need a quarantine flag, a Bahamas flag, and Canadian flag. These are rules, not suggestions. And now, if you're a bigger boat, you need an AIS, at least 50 foot. These are all new rules coming in. As a Canadian, this is from Mark Boschman, he warned me. He did it before the Rome Act, and you need to pay a departure departure document. Americans don't need that. I asked the customs, and he said I don't need it. But then he knew I was Canadian, but he wasn't thinking I was Canadian. Mark had a lot of problems coming back in, and he really strongly made sure I did it, and I paid him $75. Nobody ever asked for it because I cleared through the Google map. That would make you really miserable not having it. And I had a drone, so I paid for a drone license, which is good for apparently only for 30 days. And I told them where I was flying and when I was arriving. They never sent me the license, but I paid it. I got a receipt to pay it. I paid it, so I don't think I have problems. And other people had similar problems. Canada, you're coming in through Thousand Islands or up the Lake Champlain Richelieu River. You just turn left, right, and go past. On your chart, there's a customs. You go in there, just get a car. The recommendation is if the weather, it's only about 2 or 3 miles past the border. If the weather's bad, stay in the States until you get good weather. You don't want to try to dock your boat. You're typically not allowed to anchor. My suggestion is wait for a good weather window. There's a lot of anchorages in marinas in Champlain around there. And just my suggestion, be clear your liquor. I've done it both times. I have more than enough liquor but I never got charged for it because I declared it. It's very hard to empty your bar before crossing the river. Communications. This is the, I use a lot of roaming on my cell plan. Right now it's very cheap, very inexpensive compared to what it used to be. You buy a local SIM card. eSIMs are really handy. Allee is a cell phone company, a second-tier phone company, and you sell a Wi-Fi box, which is a little Wi-Fi box with a SIM card in it. That was very popular a few years ago. I don't think they're necessary anymore, but people are still recommending it. But I think that's just old recommendations. But it's just very complete. And something called Starlink, Elon's toy. We did have one for a few days. I think the nice thing is, I wasn't working, so it wasn't important. High speed was not important. And there are many benefits to it, but it's there. If you're interested in it, you can find out about it. And there's HF and VHF for ham radio. HF is longer range than VHF. The best parts of Bahamas, the Exumas. I've seen the Exumas 2 times before. I want to go visit the other parts of Bahamas. Georgetown was fantastic, and I've been there before. It's a good place to stay. They're like floating condos. This is the end of the Exumas. There's 300 boats there. The waters are clear. You meet a lot of people, very friendly people. I did, not the Bahamas, I did the Sail to Sun rally. There's something called Salty Dogs, which does the Bahamas. I didn't care for it, didn't need it. Sailing alone is great. I loved it. I didn't have any problems. Loneliness, I just enjoyed it, and the best days when my crew left. And rocket launches. So in Florida and Bahamas, a lot of rocket launches. There's a website you can apply to get email notifications. Rocket launch on there. Before that's the Club Bougie, that's Stanley Key, and we weren't expecting it. We just looked up and said, hey, and waited for it to pass by. We took pictures of it, and we passed by the mast that took that picture. We saw a lot of launches. So sailing solo, you have very focused on safety. It's not having the experience, it's getting the experience. Being prepared physically, mentally. I lost about 15 pounds there. When I'm by myself, I'm not doing very much. I'm not eating very much. I don't need to eat. When I have guests, we feasted. There's a lot of social people. You meet a lot of people. I love people selling single-handed. We meet people single-handed. We just stayed, friends, exchanged.
What was the average boat size of the single-handed sailors?
27 foot to 40 something, 45, 42. Actually, there was one. Well, he was actually temporary. This is right back. He was sitting himself. And what kept it going was getting weather reports from Montreal. I'd rather be there than here. You just remember where you're. The definition of hell is being in heaven and not knowing you're there. I'm full of experience. That's not safe. That's not an aviation one. That's just a personal one. I don't care of the cost, but no presentation would be. We're getting close to the end of the presentation, and I want to keep it down to 90 minutes because people were asking how long it's going to be. I got to send people when we get out of here, so I could go down to the bar and have a couple of beers and be talking down there, or have them bring some beer up here. Fuel is cheap in the States. It's ridiculously cheap. Okay, and I had a friend who wanted to vote for Trump because he blamed Bush for the high price of gas. This is a very political thing, but fuel is ridiculously cheap. In Bahamas, it's not that expensive because compared to the United States, but it's close to what we pay here in Canada, maybe a little more, but we don't cry about the price of fuel here. It's just when you go from the States to Bahamas, you just feel like you're getting ripped off. Even water is not that expensive because you're used to free water. Actually, I have a water tank back there, and I didn't bring it. You should bring some water tanks with you because in Georgetown, they charge $45 to dock to pick up water or fuel. There's free water in Georgetown at the dinghy dock. Right beside the grocery store. The grocery store provides the water for you. Be inviting, and it comes from the grocery store, so you tend to support the grocery store. There's on the net says someone's taking a shower there at the dock, and said the water was given by the grocery store. Try not to do that. Okay, so the costs. Insurance, you have paid, I had to pay for a navigation extension below 40 degrees latitude, which is New York. Sorry, latitude, yes, sorry. It was just under $2,000. 1,800, okay, it was I looked it up, $1,820 Canadian. I bought medical coverage. It's relatively cheap. Didn't use it. Had a couple of incidents which was a little scary, but they were. Everything's very expensive in Bahamas. It's the most expensive islands in the Caribbean, having to pay about 10 of them. Islands, the Bahamas are a fair bit more expensive than the others. Groceries, water, usually charge you to take out the trash. Cash is king. Carry cash. There's often up to 5% charge for using credit cards, and ATMs are hard to find. US dollars equal to $1 million. Carry cash with you and hide it. And the exchange rates are usually pretty bad. It wasn't unusual, even in southern states, they go Virginia, they would charge you for using a credit card. Which actually makes sense to you, you know. Other costs are marinas, haul-outs, reciprocatory, it helps a lot. Anchoring's free. I never needed a mechanic. I was lucky, or got the knack. And like I said, the time I did use the net to get help was to fix my outboard. And time is an asset. You worry about the cost, dollar, and time. Time is hard to get. So just getting close to the end, I did 852 hours on my engine. My estimate was 800, so I was pretty close. 1,600 liters of fuel, 270 days and 2 hours. From Dorval, from dock to dock. 4,360 nautical miles. That's just a reminder of something else. My experience is I developed very good docking now. I was pretty good before, but I'm very comfortable now. Pick up a mooring by yourself. Anchoring single-handed, a good anchor. Crab pods, nightmare. From just below Delaware Bay, maybe Cape May, they're floats with ropes, or I've heard wire cables, heard about it, and down to South Carolina, maybe Georgia, Florida's none. Very scary. You get a lot of attention watching out for them. I never caught one, but that's one of the biggest hazards. It was an extraordinary experience being alive. I love that trip. It's just a fantastic experience. But the return is not exciting. It's exciting. You've seen most of everything. Come back a little faster, which was a mistake because the locks were closed to come back.
You had a group going down the Sail to the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any at all on the way back? Or
no,
everyone's left to their own devices?
Yeah, we it's somewhere in Florida, so people started departing, like the catamaran was 65 feet. He had to go outside, so she left us. I got a little bored, so I moved ahead after West Palm Beach. But nothing, I came back, you meet people, but nothing organized. It's kind of an anticlimax.
Yeah.
Actually, coincidence, one guy couldn't make it, had mechanical problems on the way back. I met him at Anchorage. Another coincidence, on Facebook, I had a friend I used to work with 45 years ago. We haven't seen each other 45 years. He says, oh, you're in Bahamas. My friend is down there. What's the name of the boat? looked around, he was anchored 2 boats away from me. Coincidence. Oh, eyeglasses. Okay, I don't need eyeglasses, but Maurice Gagnon said his eyesight was going bad, and he had trouble on his trip, and so I went to a physician, Allan ICW, and he said, you don't need eyeglasses. The prescription is very minor. Give it to me anyways, and it was helpful. So every little bit helps. I had a mast frame made for my trip to Champlain with Rod's help. We made it about 10 years ago, and we used the same frame. I'm not that good at woodwork and engineering. It was a great frame, and you can be aware of where to demast and how to hold your mast up. There are people to help you there. If you're somewhat your own, I call it circular saw drills would be they need them. But and you know, you turn oil changer. I thought I could always borrow one. You know, when you wanted one to do it, you gotta have your own.
Alan?
Yep.
Is your mast through the cabin, or is it mounted?
Deck
It is through the cabin?
No, deck stack. Deck, not through the cabin. Not the
So you can lean it on the A-frame, that's what you were talking
You know, I
about?
can't lean it. I has to lift it up. I don't have a hinge.
Okay.
And it's pretty heavy.
Actually, that was the best. Vinicius. So that's it. We did it.
Alan, one
Well done.
question that somebody has is, if you had to put a number on how much it cost for 9 months away, what would that figure be?
I looked at my credit card statement, and it's about $2,000 US per month,
Thank you.
including meals.
Wow.
And wine?
That's how much it was.
Mine is cheap. Wine in the States is cheap, except New York. New York City was very expensive, of course, and I was stuck there for about 10 days. Well, actually, I chose to be stuck there because his Worcester is stuck in Albany. Or at least for 10 days. 10 days is a little long for Albany.